Welcome to my equipment guide for the Lightbringer set. The first thing is a little bug that when you look for the different sets, you will notice that they are in alphabetical order, all of them, but one. And this is the one, the Lightbringer set. The Lightbringer set is not in the L, it should be down here, but between the Casduli set and the Necrotic set, but instead is in the D, between the Dragon King set and the Dreamhold set. And I don't know why. Maybe it's supposed to be called Dietbringer, I don't know. But yeah, when you look for this set, keep in mind that it's not going to be in the L, it's going to be in the D, whatever. Now, this is a set meant to be used with yellow builds. There are three sets that are meant to be used with yellow. Those are the Dire King set or Dire King set, the Lightbringer set, and the, let's see if I can find it, Ewald set. This is the third set. I already made a video about the dual set, and now it's time to talk about this one. So, this set cannot be crafted. If you go to your crafters, forge, and find it here, you can see that you cannot craft this set. And it has one base set pieces of equipment and one variant set. So the base set is found here in season 1.5, Dragons of Light. This is the base set. And the variant can be found in season 3.1, Bones of the First Ones. This is the variant. Now the Sunswept variant has the same properties as the base items, but in addition, create one yellow gem when making a column match per Sunswept gear equipped. So, as you can see, it can be very powerful with a yellow build. If you wear the full set, I don't know why, but if you were using it, it will create 6 yellow gems when you make a column, which is very powerful. Now, there is another piece of equipment, which is the Mirror of the Forgotten, that belongs to the Ancient Dragon set, that is also Sunswept, even when it doesn't show it here, but it is. I will show you because I have one. But this set already has a chest piece, so you obviously cannot wear both of them at once. But if you're using the Mirror of the Forgotten together with some of the pieces of equipment of this set, keep in mind that it's going to have this Sunswept variant, which is better than the base one. So if you want to farm pieces of equipment, do it here in season 3.1, Bones of the First Ones. And as usual, you can mix and match the base with the variant. For example, this shield is the Sunswept variant, while all the other pieces of equipment I have right now equipped are just the base set, but it still triggers the set bonuses the same way, and you can sacrifice the normal pieces of equipment to increase the variant ones. So let's talk about the set bonuses. For the 2 set pieces, 25% chance to start the battle with haste for 1 turn. Now, this set revolves around, as I said, yellow builds, and revolves around blind, which is one of the, or the most common yellow debuff that goes very well with the jeweled gauntlets that deal bonus damage to blinded enemies, and haste. There are several pieces of equipment in this set that will give you haste. 25% is nice, but it's a bit too low for my taste. Honestly, it's not very good, but it's something. For the 4 set pieces, again at Mythical, when dealing light damage, there is a 10% chance to apply blind for 2 turns. Well, 10% chance is not particularly good, but if you're using a yellow elemental build and you have 3 or 4 spells that can deal light damage, well, yeah, they will help you a lot by increasing your chances to blind your opponent. But again, there are other ways to get blind on an opponent. And finally, for the 6 set bonus, if the enemy is blinded, gain 20% power. 20% power is nice, but having to use the full set for that, I think it's a little bit expensive. So yeah, the set bonuses are nothing extraordinary. The 2 pieces is decent, uh, and if you're going to use another piece of equipment that can give you haste, yeah, definitely they're going to add up. But if you really want haste, a reliable source for haste when you start the battle, use a track helm, honestly. Now, let's talk about the individual pieces. Let's start with the boots. If there are 8 yellow gems on the board, gain plus 50 speed. 50 speed is nice, but it's not a lot. If you really need speed for a physical build, use the runic boots instead. Don't use the the Lightbringer threads. 50 speed is not that much. And if you want a reliable way to blind your opponent, so you can take advantage of the other bonuses, use the Diakin. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna pronounce it Diakin. Use the Diakin boots. These ones are legendary, but of mythical rarity. When matching 7 yellow gems, blind the enemy for 2 turns. If you want a reliable source for blind, use these boots instead. Next, the leggings or the pants. At the start of your turn, if I have haste, gain starting armor and resistance. These are only rare. If you have the mythical ones, they will increase by 2.5%. It's nice, and for yellow builds, you don't have that many options, but personally, I prefer, I think it's this one, yeah, the jewel pants, which is the other set, well, the other one of the 3 sets that work well with yellow builds. Gain 3% of your starting armor when you create a big yellow gem. Honestly, I prefer the jewel pants to the Lightbringer's leggings. Next, the chest piece. When you match skulls, 8% chance to gain haste for 2 turns. If it's mythical, it's 10%. Again, interesting, but 10% only is not that much. And if you're going to use a yellow build, I highly recommend that you use the Mirror of the Forgotten. This is the set piece for the Ancient Dragon. Use 2 Ancient Dragon set pieces of equipment that are going to generate 4 yellow gems every turn. And this one is Sunswept by default, so it has the additional bonus of creating yellow gems when making a column. This is much better than the Lightbringer's Tabard. The weapon. I mean, it looks really cool, and I really like the fact that the theme is this seven-pointy shuriken, which is in the weapon. It's also in the middle of the chest piece, in the middle of the shield, and in the amulet. I really like the look of it. However, it's just the look of it. So, when matching color gems, this one is purple, but obviously you would want a yellow one. So when matching yellow gems, there is a 50% chance at mythical rarity to create two yellow gems. Um, nice, but there are so much better weapons. If you're using an elemental yellow build, go for the Dragon King Axe or the Runic Mace. And if you're using a physical yellow build, there are so many better options than this weapon. This is just meh, not very good. Next, the Protector, which is the shield. When taking damage, there is a 20% chance, if you're using the mythical one, to blind the enemy for 2 turns. 20% chance is not that much. However, there aren't that many yellow, uh, shields in general. And in the case of yellow, yes, the Jewel Tower is a very, very good shield, but it generates the gems during the opponent's turn. So, yeah, the Lightbringer's Protector, if you can find a good one, it can be a good shield for a yellow build. I will say that it's maybe not as good as the Jewel Tower, but it's pretty close to it. And if you need two pieces of equipment to trigger the set bonus, well, yeah, the shield, I would say, is not too bad. And finally, the amulet. And this is where things get a little bit crazy because the amulet is deceptively strong. Looking at it, it doesn't seem like much, but it's actually an excellent piece of equipment. Let me explain. The one I have is only rare, unfortunately, but if you have the mythical one, it will increase all your masteries by 1.5% for each yellow gem on the board. If you can generate lots of yellow gems, and if you're using a physical yellow build, it's not going to be that powerful because you need to generate a lot of skulls. But if you go for a pure elemental yellow build, this can get really, really strong. So let's say, for example, that you're using a yellow build with a runic mace and one mythical Lightbringer symbol. So 1.5% to all masteries. And let's say that you are near the end game, the late game, where you have 10%, when you have 10,000 mastery. Okay? So the runic mace is going to increase your power by 2,500 from just that 10,000 mastery. But this amulet, let's say that you can generate, for example, let's bring the calculator on screen. Let's say that you can generate 30 yellow gems, which is very easy with a pure elemental build. 30 times 1.5 is going to increase your mastery by 45%. So instead of 10,000, you will have 10,000 times 1.45, 14,500 mastery. This is a lot. This is increasing your elemental damage, your light damage from your spells, by 4,500 because each point of mastery increases your base damage by 1. That is the base damage before all the other multipliers that you may have. But if you have the runic mace, then this gets transformed, multiplied by 0.25. You're increasing your power by 3,625, which is another boost to your elemental damage by 1 point each base. So this little amulet at that point is increasing your damage, adding the 4,500 by 8,000 for each one of your yellow spells. And this is just the base before applying any multipliers. And this is only with 30 yellow gems. If you're using, let's say, for example, let's go to my paladin. Now, this is not a good example. This is not a good build, okay? But let's say that you're using these spells. This is only legendary. At Ancient Mythic will create 9 yellow gems. Sunburst, again, is only legendary. At Ancient Mythic will create another 9 gems. And Smite is only legendary. At Ancient Mythic will generate 8 gems. That is 9 plus 9 plus 8, 26 gems just from these 3 spells, okay? I could have a 4th spell that generates additional yellow gems. And yeah, that will mean a lot of yellow gems. So the example that I put with 30 is not that much. You can get more than 30. And as you can see, the damage can get really, really crazy. But is very niche because yellow elemental builds are not that good to begin with. But it's an option that if you want to make a yellow elemental build, definitely look for the Lightbringer symbol at mythical rarity and try to boost your mastery as much as you can because this is really, really big. Now, there is another use, and that is for multicolor or rainbow builds, because this increases all masteries, not only yellow. It increases all your masteries, but it's only dependent on yellow gems on the board. So you will require to have maybe a dual elemental build, or I don't know. It's something to consider. I think this is a piece of equipment that may be really, really powerful in in certain conditions and even usable for a rainbow build. But right now, I don't know. However, definitely for a yellow elemental build, 100%, I would say this is the best in-slot piece of equipment you can use. And even for a yellow physical build. It's just that for a yellow physical build, you can also use the Night Amulet for the chance to create a big skull, or other pieces, like if you want a lot of healing, you will want to use a Savior's Locket to increase your healing boost. So there are other options, but this is my analysis and equipment guide for the Lightbringer set. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and thank you very much for watching.